Welcome to another edition of ESPN FC Live. Alexis Nunes here alongside Stevie Nicol, looking back at some Premier League action. Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. Stevie, who said these teams have nothing else to play for? Because I thought that was quite a thrilling game, a little 5-goal thriller. There was so many different things to talk about, but overall, especially that second half leading into stoppage time, entertaining game, Stevie.
Yeah, no question. Second half in particular was great to watch. Both teams going forward, both teams trying to score. Not overly worried about keeping too tight and certainly defending too deep. It was all about who can score. So yeah, for us watching, it was fantastic, and to get goals and opportunities. I mean, Buemo got his goal eventually, but he had 2 or 3 chances that he really should have been putting away, in my opinion. But yeah, it's good to complain about players not taking chances, because that means that chances are created. So yeah, I think second half, open attacking football from both teams, and as you said, pleasure to watch.
Pleasure to watch indeed, Stevie. It made waking up at 7 a.m. worth it. All right, let's get into specifics now, because of course there was a controversial decision. Manchester United getting the 3 points in the end, but there was a controversial decision because there seemed to be a handball on Brian Mbombo. Eventually, the referee decided to stick with the decision to award the goal to Manchester United. It happened in the build-up to the play, but Nottingham Forest surely would still be fuming about that, wouldn't they? What did you make of it?
Well, I think it goes in a category of ridiculous decisions. The ball's come across at pace, defender has a swing and a miss, and the ball comes off the hip of Mbomo, but then it is controlled by his arm. It hits him right in the between the elbow joint, and had it not hit him in the arm, he wouldn't have controlled the ball in order to score. So when the referee goes to the side of the field, I think 99% of people watching this figured this was going to be disallowed, because, as I said, there's no question. If it doesn't hit Mbomo's arm, then he doesn't control it. The ball would break away, and it just wouldn't happen. And incredibly, the referee decides that it was okay, and he gives the goal. I mean, it's a shocking decision. It's not a bad decision. It is a shocking decision. The referee who gave that is obviously the only one who thinks that it's okay. Because the reason that VAR asked him to go to the screen to look at it is because they think there's a problem. We always complain that, we want referees to make their own decision.
Yep.
But on this occasion, my goodness, he made his own decision, but it couldn't have been more wrong if he tried.
Yeah, and ultimately that goal, of course, made the difference, as Man United ended up getting one more goal than Forest, and that's what.
Well, actually, the only positive about that decision was that it actually opened the game up big time.
Yeah.
And so we spent the rest of the game just looking at the penalty box. We complain about, there's nothing happens in the penalty box. Well, my goodness, after that goal, it was just take turns getting forward and try to get shots off. So. The only positive for them, a horrendous decision, was it completely blew open the game. That gave us such a great finish.
Yeah, it was truly a great finish. It was also an emotional finish for Casemiro when he was substituted. Of course, we know now that he's leaving Manchester United at the end of the season. That was his farewell to the home crowd at Old Trafford, Stevie. If we just look at his contributions for Manchester United and the kind of legacy that he lives behind, because when he left Real Madrid, we spoke at length. And of course, this isn't the Casemiro that we saw at Real Madrid. That was such, on a different level. But overall, in terms of looking back at his career at United, what he brought and what he's leaving, what would you say it is?
Well, what I would say is that the last 3-4 months have been enjoyable they've been enjoyable for Man United, but they've been enjoyable for Casemiro. Casemiro came to United at a time where they were so unsettled, both on and off the field. And as you said, he was on the other side of his career. And his performances were up to the standard of what he was capable of. You can't say that he didn't play his part. But what I like about what happened today was the fact that the last 3 to 4 months have been smooth and positive for United means that it's been positive for Casemiro. Casemiro, by the time of the end of Amarin's time, wasn't on the field. Casemiro hardly played. He was coming off the bench or he was being subbed early. You know, it wasn't exactly a fantastic time for him. But this last 3 months under Carrick, he's played all the time. He's played well. He's scored goals. And today, when he came off, he got such a great reception, and I'm glad for him because his career deserves that. And it was good to see everybody giving him a standing ovation. So yeah, nice one.
Do you think United currently have enough to fill those Casemiro-sized boots come this summer, or are they going to have to recruit that specific area?
Look, I think there's no question that Manchester United are going to have to recruit heavily. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not talking about a couple of players. They really need reinforcements. Number one, because they need quality numbers. Because you know, this season isn't going to happen again for a long time. You know, the fact that they were knocked out of the FA Cup early, the fact they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup early. You know, nothing going on in Europe. I mean, for Carrick, it was great. It means that it was one game a week. And so they were very comfortable in the end in third place. But that's not going to happen next year. They're going to be involved for probably through the next year in competitions. And so they need numbers. And so they need to buy quality. But they also need to buy real quality if they want to be challenging for the Premier League and not just qualifying for the Champions League. You know, if they want to do something in the Champions League, again, they need to strengthen and they need quality. I would suggest they need 5 top quality players, if they want to be challenging for the top honours. But if nothing else, they do need at least another 5 players to fill the squad out, because they will be playing in more competitions. And yeah, I mean, we'll say it's easy to play one game a week. It's not easy. You still got to get it done. But I tell you what, it's twice as hard when you're playing twice a week. That's for sure.
Well, somebody who I think can say their position is pretty safe at Manchester United is Bruno Fernandes. He got another assist today, and he's now equaled the Premier League assist record. For those of you that love to get assists in terms of stats that you hold highly, he's now equaled the joint record that was held by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. Stevie, but just one word again on Bruno Fernandes, who I think this season has definitely underlined his importance for the club.
One word: fantastic.
Yeah,
he's been fantastic. I mean, we saw again today, not just the fact that he's assisting, some of his long range passing. I mean, you talk about spot on. I mean, how do you turn a 50-yard pass into making it easy for the guy receiving the ball to control it? I mean, yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic all season. Yeah, he's no question, and to carry Man United, because that's what he's done. He's the man that's carried United for the season, and to do that with such a big club is immense, and he deserves all the credit that he's receiving, and he will receive certainly between now and the World Cup. Yeah, he asked for one word: fantastic has to be the word.
Well, Elliot Anderson, you could say, was fantastic as well for Forest. He had 2 assists. And speaking about assists, we know that Manchester United reportedly are interested in him as well. Do you feel he possesses the quality that Manchester United will need next season, as you pointed out, because they will be back in the Champions League, will need to rotate, will need to balance all the domestic cups as well as Europe?
100%. He would absolutely make United better. He would make any team better. I mean, his emergence has been incredible since he came from Newcastle, to the point where I think he's guaranteed a start for England in the World Cup. That's where he is right now. And again, like Bruno today, we saw why. I mean, he's everywhere. And he's not just everywhere. He's making fantastic passes, cutting things out, starting attacks, getting up the edge of the penalty box. I mean, yeah, he's really emerged into an incredible player, and absolutely, if Manchester United can afford them, they should go and get him, because he will make them better.
And then finally for Forest now, of course, they've flirted with runs in Europe as well. That unfortunately for them came to an end at the hands of Villa. They were in a bit of a relegation scrap, but I think we can say now, Stevie, that despite the loss today, they are pretty much safe. Just overall looking back at their season 2 and what they can build on and how they would take today's game.
Well, I think today they will be happy that they're safe. But I think they'll be disappointed in the season after last year.
Yeah.
It was always going to be difficult to replicate what they did last year. But there's been a lot of turmoil, particularly in the first, 6, 7, 8 months maybe of the season. Mm-hmm. And it's only recently that they've actually settled down into a pattern of good performances and getting results. And they thoroughly deserve to stay in the Premier League. They're way better than Spurs and West Ham, in my opinion. So yeah, they'll be happy to stay up, because certainly at one stage they were one of the favourites to go down. But in terms of last season to this, they'll be disappointed that they couldn't get close to what they did last year.
And then just a final word as well on Forest. Speaking about Morgan Gibbs-White, you spoke about Elliot Anderson in terms of the England perspective, because of course now we're getting ready for the World Cup. What did you make of Morgan Gibbs-White, and did he do himself a world of good enough to be a part of the England setup? Well,
actually, during the game, I'm thinking, do I take Morgan Gibbs-White, Cole Palmer? Do I? Which one do I take? If I'm choosing one, I'm taking Gibbs-White.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because throughout the season, we've just been talking about the struggles of Nottingham Forest this season. But this guy, throughout the season, through the struggles and, of course, the positive end to the season, this guy's been doing it. This guy's been creating. This guy's been scoring goals. So, again, for me, I'd have to say he would be ahead of Cole Palmer if it comes down to it for me. Cole Palmer has done nothing particular in the season. Certainly hasn't done anything since he came back from his injury. So yeah, I mean, Phil Foden, you can throw Phil Foden in as well. Would I take Phil Foden, Palmer or Gibbs if it comes down to it? You'd have to say right now that Morgan Gibbs-White is streaks ahead of those two. Now, it depends what Tuchel's thinking. Does he need somebody just to come on for 20 minutes and just possibly do something outrageous? Maybe that tilts it towards the other two. But in terms of level of performance, there's no question Gibbs-White's level of performance has been superb all season.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely leave it at that. We're going to go back because there's plenty more Premier League games going on very shortly, and we will be back after Newcastle United up against West Ham United. We'll see if West Ham can do themselves a bit of a favor or not. Stevie doesn't look very positive. Thank goodness we don't have our Shaka Hislop nearby, but that is the Shaka Hislop Classico if I've ever seen one. We'll see who comes out on top. We'll see you next time, guys, on ESPN FC Live.